Hello everybody, John from Gaming in the Wild here, and I've got another month ahead video for you today. It's the start of May in 2025, and with a new month comes a new selection of indie releases that we can all look forward to. There are literally hundreds of games coming out this month, like there are every month, and I've been scouring the storefronts, checking out tons of trailers, and wading through press releases to bring you this list of the very best games coming out this month. And there is some really wild ones this month. We're getting a surreal new game from Katamari creator Keita Takahashi. We're getting a claymation nightmare simulator called The Midnight Walk. We're getting a game where you sail a galleon through space, and that's just to name a few of them. So open up your wish list and get ready to add a few games to your library. If you do find something good on this video, then please give it a like. It lets me know I'm doing something right, and it helps other people find the videos too. If there's something that's caught your eye that's coming out this month that isn't in the video, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what's caught your eye out there, and I will tell you about all of the extras you can get by joining this channel's Patreon at the end. And with that, let's go. We got a whole bunch of games coming out on May the 1st. There were 3 great releases that have caught my eye. The first of them is called Despelote. This is a really lovely concept for a game, I think. It's a football game, or soccer to our American friends, and it's not just about the sport, it's not about being the star striker or the manager, but it's about our collective experience of football. It's about fandom and obsession, and that flair of unexpected pride you might feel when a national team is playing well at international tournaments. It's about the supporter experience, and specifically the childhood experience of kicking a ball around in the park or in the street, staring out of your classroom window, waiting for class to end to go out and dribble and cross and strike. So there's a lovely welcome sense of childhood nostalgia in this game, and I think that anyone who has supported their side at the World Cup will tap into that. This is also a very culturally specific game though. It's set in Ecuador at the dawn of their modern footballing era. You play a young kid who is obsessed with the side that's going off to the World Cup and experiencing the national fervour that followed. I've played this game and I think it's really gorgeous. It has this lovely experience of being a kid in the back of the car, listening to your parents talking, getting home and playing football video games, watching football matches on TV with the family around you, and then going out to kick a ball around until you get called in for bedtime. I think even people that aren't that into football will get something out of this game. It's got a great story, a place and time, and a mood. You can check it out now on Steam and all the consoles. That's Despelote. Also on the 1st, we got Shotgun Copman, and Devolver Digital have a continuing knack for snapping up edgy little games that bring something new to familiar genres. They released Angry Foot, an FPS where you mostly kick stuff. They released Pepper Grinder, a platform that's actually about drilling through dirt, and Shotgun Copman is another game in that vein. Developed by the makers of the underrated My Friend Pedro, it takes the familiar genre of 2D platform shooter and turns it on its head with some interesting new mechanics. Namely, that rather than having a jump button, you have to blast down with your shotgun to get air, and then you're also dual-wielding a pistol to take out enemies. In gameplay, this works out as a complex dance of twin-stick blasting and platforming that occupies the same space in my brain as patting my head and rubbing my stomach or juggling. You almost have to internalize the controls and learn how to do it without thinking, because if you think too hard, you'll definitely mess it up. The challenge ramps up pretty fast, and the level design is really ingenious. It's set up so that you have to deploy all of your skills, and different rooms form different puzzles where you'll have to use both guns to the best effect to get through. There is a demo on Steam for this one, so you can try it out now, and I think you'll know pretty quickly if this is one for you or not. I've got a feeling that if you get the bug for this game, it will really stick to you. I can see it becoming quite addictive with time trials and perfection available. It's a perfect handheld game, so whether you're playing it on Steam Deck or you have a Switch, it's out on Switch as well. You can play it right now. That's Shotgun Copman. Also coming out on the 1st is a really interesting little game that I'm going to bet you haven't heard of before. It's a very cool little narrative puzzle game called SubVerge. The devs describe it as a short conversation-based puzzle. It's set underwater in a hazardous patch of ocean where a kraken lurks. There is a surface society called the Surface People, and there are people that live down in the depths as well who are rebelling against that world. You find yourself caught in the middle in a submersible on the way down to the bottom of the ocean, where you encounter a ragtag crew of divers. They all surround your submersible, which is called the Sub-V, and you can engage them in choice-based conversation. They all have different wishes, different fears, different perspectives, different drives and demands. And you have to navigate all of that in the conversation, going step by step, deciding what you're going to do, deciding which side you're going to come down on, and learning more about this mysterious science fiction scenario as you go. There is also some time pressure as your oxygen ticks down and your submersible fills up with water, and it's all voice acted too, so it's got a really atmospheric feel to it. I really like the clean look of this one and what I've heard of the soundscape. It's a fascinating little game, and it's just $6 on Steam, which I think is a great price. I've already bought this one, and I'm looking forward to burning through it soon, finding out about the branching paths and the different endings. There might even be some replayability here for those who want it. It's out now on Steam. That's SubVerge. On the 5th of the month, we get another great idea for a game. This one smashes together two genres in a really interesting way. It's called Duchy, and it's a simple, addictive, medieval battle strategy game. It has two phases. The first is a Tetris-like well, where you will create the landscape that you'll be fighting on by slotting together different terrain pieces, like forest, river, plain, or mountain. You get more as you progress. And then when you complete lines, you get resources to upgrade your cards, and you also have to slot into place your units and your enemies' units. This is where some early strategy comes into place. For example, watchtowers will get more power if they're on the plains, wooden fortresses will have more troops if they're in a forest, so you try and position your pieces advantageously and your enemy pieces to screw them over, and how this goes will determine how well you do in phase 2, that's the battle phase. Once you've built the landscape, you have to select the order of play, and then you get to sit back and watch the battle play out on the screen. It's a simple tug of war. If you take out all the enemy troops and have troops left over, they will turn into gold and you will win, but if only enemy troops are left, then that amount of troops will be taken off your health for the next round. There are other systems too, like different types of landscapes, like different vendors that you can buy resources from and trade resources, and there's a boss in each area. You can also unlock loads of different cards, like technology cards that will give you boons in a run, give you extra resources, raise your maximum health, and all that kind of thing. I think this is a really addictive game. I've had my hands on it for a couple of weeks now, and I've already got 10 hours in it. It's really hitting the spot as a before bed game in my Balatros slot in my gaming roster, and if that sounds good to you, it's out on Steam on May the 5th. That's Duchy. On the 8th, we get Creature Keeper. This is a cute Zelda-like pixel adventure with creature collecting and RPG elements. You explore a gorgeous retro pixel fantasy world where you head off on a big adventure to try and get to the bottom of a sickness that has been sweeping over the realm. Along the way, you can also tame creatures that you meet. You can get them to join your squad in battle, and you can customize them to your liking. There are some other mechanics layered on here too, like a pocket garden, like the Resident Evil 4 suitcase kind of thing, where you can arrange objects for buffs and so forth. And there's a 50 strong bestiary for completionists to get into as well. I think this makes for a really interesting mix of various Zelda formulas. I've really enjoyed games that mix up Nintendo ideas, like Tinykin's Mario meets Pikmin formula, like the Wild at Heart's Zelda Metroid Pikmin mashup. So there's a lot of potential here for me in this one. I'm excited to try it out when it comes to PC, Mac and Steam on the 8th of May. That's Creature Keeper. On the 8th, we get a wild one. It is The Midnight Walk, and this game is a weird one in the best possible way. It's a macabre, darkly comic, wildly imaginative adventure game made by Moonhood Games. And although that's a new studio, it's run by some of the makers of Lost in Random and Faya, but a different studio called Stormteller Games is making the Lost in Random sequel, so there seems to have been some drama with the studios being embraced and unembraced, bought, sold, split into two, and rebranded multiple times. But one thing is for sure, whoever went to Moonhood Games rather than going to Stormteller has a lot of art talent, because The Midnight Walk looks wild. It has this claymation look to it, with a Nightmare Before Christmas inspired sense of anarchic melancholia, with wild monsters creeping through the darkness and hunting you down. And as well as surviving yourself, you have a little buddy with you on this journey called Potboy. He's a weird little walking candle jar who draws monsters near to his flame. So I think you're going to have to protect this little pothead too. The trailers have all been very heavy on art, so I'm not exactly sure what the gameplay is in this one. I hope there's not too much stealth horror type gameplay in it, and it's more of an adventure game type feel, but this art style has me curious enough to spring for it alone when it comes to PC, PSVR and consoles on the 8th of the month. That is The Midnight Walk. Also on the 8th of the month comes Empyreal. This was a very tough release window for Empyreal, with the smash hit Clair Obscur Expedition 33 releasing in close proximity, and the Oblivion remake on the slate as well. But this one has a lot of striking similarities to Clair Obscur. Both games are third-person RPGs where you go on an expedition to a mysterious monolith to fight strange automatons. Both games use a lot of parries and timed attacks, and you have to get to the bottom of a grand cosmic mystery. Kind of weird that these words work as well to describe Empyreal as Expedition 33, so they're certainly treading some of the same ground, but Empyreal has its own personality. The art style is very different, being a little bit more rough and ready in feel. It also has a character creator, so it's a more traditional RPG in that sense. And this game really does seem like a labour of love, so I hope that it connects to an audience. The publisher's secret mode has certainly got its work cut out to get it to cut through, with Avowed, Clair Obscur, Oblivion all having dropped this year already. Fingers crossed for this one. That's Empyreal, out on PC on the 8th. Next up is Void Sails, which comes out on the 18th of the month, and this one's a very intriguing adventure game in which you captain a flying ship through the stars, and we're talking a space galleon here, not the Starship Enterprise. You use an overworld type map to select your destination, and then when you arrive you get to sail around an area and get into encounters. This involves some conversational choices and adapted card type mechanics. And an element of chance as well. You can use artifacts to tweak the odds in your favour and then roll the dice to see how things turn out. The dice in this case is more of a fancy antique Wheel of Fortune kind of thing, but you get what I mean. I really like the look of this one. The visual presentation is appealing, and I'm intrigued about how the systems lock together, and sailing through the stars is just a really nice fantasy. You know, it really helps if a game has a nice sense of place, and I think that this one really, really does. It's out on the 18th on Steam only for now. That's Void Sails. Apparently deck building games are like London buses, because this year we're getting sequels to two of the biggest deck building games in recent years. We'll be getting Slay the Spire 2, which is planned for early access this year, and Monster Train 2, which is getting its full release on May 21st. I really enjoyed the first Monster Hunter, and this time we're going to be fighting our way through heaven on a giant train instead of trundling through the hell frozen over scenario of the original. And while Monster Train 2 has a new setting, it retains the tower defense, card combat, and three-tiered vertical gameplay of the original game. If you haven't played the original Monster Hunter, you have this giant three-floor train powered by a pyre on the top floor. You make stops along the way to pick up new cards and artifacts and buffs and that kind of thing, and then you engage in card combat where you defend each floor of your train against waves of enemies. If they get to the top, they damage your pyre, and when your pyre's health is extinguished, it's game over. There are different regions to travel through with varying enemy types and bosses, and from the look of the trailers, they've taken the approach of if it ain't broke, don't fix it with this sequel. I liked the original game a lot, although I found the difficulty curve a bit steep at first, so I'm quite curious to see what tweaks they've made to the formula in Monster Train 2. I think it's going to be a big success. You can try it out when it lands on Steam on the 21st. Three more games to go this month, and on the 22nd we get Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson. This is the second retro pixel adventure on this list after Creature Keeper. This is a turn-based game with RPG elements. It combines a bit of a Bill and Ted, Wayne's World, Artful Escape type rock scenario with rhythm battle gameplay, with lots of guitars and that kind of thing. It has a Zelda top-down exploration and puzzling element as well. The story is definitely not the selling point here, I think, but there is an evil plot afoot with a corporation trying to corrupt music by co-opting a battle of the bands. And you have to, I don't know, fight a lot of people with rock music to stop that from happening. You might be able to tell from my tone here that I think the story and the vibes are a little bit lame in this game, but hey, the combat looks great. You can learn new riffs to gain new attacks. The art is beautiful. And I'm a sucker for detailed pixel art, so I thought this one was worth bringing up because I think it might find a cult audience. And if you think that is you, it's coming to PC and Steam on the 22nd of the month. That is Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson. On the 22nd of the month, we get Deliver at All Costs, and this one was a big hit with the Gaming in the Wild Discord community at the recent Steam Next Fest. If you don't know, over on the Patreon Discord, we will keep a sheet of all the games that people are trying in Next Fest, and we all rate them and get to see what came out highest. It's a really fun time. If you want to become a patron, it's patreon.com/gaminginthewild, link on the screen now. But Deliver at All Costs came out almost at the top of the pile last time. It's a really interesting case indie cred-wise. It's made by an indie developer called Far Out Games. It's a collection of game dev students in Gothenburg, Sweden. They set about making their dream game. It won some awards, it got some attention, and then it got picked up by Konami of all people. So it's not strictly an indie game, but I wanted to include it here because of that heartwarming development story. It's an isometric driving game set in 1959, where you play as a driver charged with doing time-sensitive deliveries in as short a time as possible. The twist here is that the driving is loose and the entire world is destructible, so you can skid off the road by accident and wipe out someone's entire brick house. That gives the game a feeling of manic destruction, but if you wreck too much on the road, the cops will show up, and that person maybe isn't going to get their pizza at that stage. People have described this one as a mix of Crazy Taxi and GTA, but the devs say that there's a full story campaign here too with a 3-act structure, so this game has a lot going for it. It's coming to the modern consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, as well as Steam on the 22nd of the month. That's Deliver at All Costs. And the final game that I want to highlight this month is coming out on the 28th. It is called 2AT. It's another wild one. 2AT is the latest game from legendary game designer Keita Takahashi, the maker of the Katamari games and Watam. These are very whimsical, very Japanese games with a surreal sense of humor and a chaos and madness about them. These games are a real vibe. I feel like a lot of people sleep on Watam actually. It's such a crazy fun game. You should definitely check that one out. But 2AT is a game that dares to ask the question, what would happen if someone was stuck in a T-pose all the time? The answer is, of course, that they would struggle with almost everything, because a T-pose is that pose that we sometimes see video game characters stuck in when it's a bug. But here it becomes a feature, and our lead character is charged with trying to do things like drinking water, writing, eating, getting dressed, petting a dog, all whilst having their arms stuck out in a T-shape. All of those activities are explored in slapstick mini-games, and there's also a story to follow about the T-posing protagonist with a mini open world to look around, characters to meet, side quests and so forth. This is a really cute idea, and I will play anything by Keita Takahashi. That's 2AT. It's coming to PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series on May 28th. And just before I go, I wanted to tell you all about the Gaming in the Wild podcast. If you're enjoying the videos on this channel, I want to let you know that there is a weekly audio podcast that comes out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you get podcasts. It's extra content that you will like if you like these videos. There is game news and chat. There are sometimes developer interviews and guest episodes. We make a really big deal out of Game of the Year season and use the whole of December to talk about the best games of the year. And we just finished a community playthrough of Kentucky Route Zeroes. There were 5 episodes in a row exploring each act of that seminal art game. It comes out each and every week, so if you enjoy these videos, then check it out. That's the Gaming in the Wild podcast. And making all of these videos and podcasts takes up a lot of time, so if you would like to give me a tip, it's patreon.com/gaminginthewild. You get extra episodes, you get content creation blogs, you get a patron-only Discord invite, and lots more besides. Big thank you to my boss tier patron Shy Guy, big thank you to all my patrons, and thanks for you if you'd consider becoming a patron. That's it, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next one.